Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video I am back with another review of WWE for the week. We had quite a bit going on this week. We are going literally into Worlds Collide for NXT and then into the Royal Rumble. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of build up for everything. So quite a bit is going on. But I'm going to go ahead and give you my review of the week. I will probably do a review of the Royal Rumble as well. So look for that. I might do one for Worlds Collide as well. Just depends how much time I have this week because I do have a busy week. But that being said, we are going to go ahead and get started. And we're going to start off with Monday Night Raw. So Raw this week opened up with Seth Rollins, AOP, and the newly initiated member of their group, Buddy Murphy. If you watched last week, Buddy Murphy helped this team to victory over the Big Show, Samoa Joe, and Kevin Owens. So basically Seth was just talking about how like Buddy Murphy, like he made the right decision, aligning himself with them, and just was like talking and talking as Seth does. I love Seth, but still. He was talking and talking, which led to Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens coming out and basically just saying that they were ready for a fight. And they had brought back up, which was the Viking Raiders, which was odd. I don't know how that came about, but for some reason that came about. We got a little brawl in the ring, and then that would lead to a match later on in the night, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Our next match, well, our actual like first match of the night was actually Andrade and Rey Mysterio facing off in a ladder match for the US title. And I thought this was a really good match. I think if you've ever watched any of Andrade and Rey's matches together, they just have a very good chemistry in the ring. I think they always put on a show. I love a good ladder match, so this was really exciting. I think my favorite thing from the whole actual thing was actually Zelina's interference, where she actually got on the very top of the ladder so Rey couldn't get the title, and I thought that was actually really cool. I like Zelina a lot. I hope in the future we see her in more matches because she definitely seems like the type that can go from the very few matches I've seen her in. But I liked that. That was a nice little spot. Of course, Andrade ends up winning, and then he was trying to like I forgot what he was trying to do, something to Rey on the concrete, basically like what he's been doing to other people. But then a fan came out, but it actually ended up being Humberto Carrillo, and he's back from his injury that he sustained from Andrade in the storyline. So he's back, and then they have a match at Royal Rumble now. So they'll probably be pre-show, I would guess. I don't know. Last time they had a match against each other, they put it on the pre-show, but it was actually a really good match. So hopefully it's actually on the Royal Rumble so more people can see it. But that is kind of what's going on. Also, I just realized like how stuffy I sound. I'm really sorry. My allergies are like acting up so bad. But moving on. Then we also got a couple other matches I'm just going to talk about real quick. We got Aleister Black versus local competitor. So we're back to just kind of like him beating everyone until I guess they find another person to put him against. Matt Hardy got absolutely destroyed by Eric Rowan, which is so unfortunate. Okay, I have to insert this because I'm an idiot and I forgot to talk about this and I just realized it, so there's a weird like cut. This is why. So this was one of the better parts of Raw, was actually Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. I was super into this. I thought this was such a good thing. I love them both. I think they're both so good. I'm so excited to see Drew have an actual feud with someone, like not be Shane McMahon's bodyguard, not have like little tiny feuds with people he can obviously beat, but to have one with Randy Orton. And it was super good. This match was going great. The OC obviously like kind of got in there and like, you know, messed that up. And then, you know, Drew got RKO'd because, you know, he shouldn't have trusted Randy. But then at the end, I felt like Drew cut a really good promo. I'm hoping so much that Drew wins the men's Royal Rumble. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I have a lot of hope. I mean, WWE, like, plays me a lot, so it might not happen, but I would love to see it happen. I'm hoping in the future, soon, Drew starts to get more opportunities because he's so good, and that's all I have to say. Okay, sorry, I had to add this in. And then we got a Brock Lesnar promo. So I've seen Brock Lesnar more in the last month than I think I've seen him in the last like year or so. So this is crazy. But obviously they are promoting him for the Royal Rumble and everything. So, you know, it's just a normal promo with Paul Heyman and him, which led into Ricochet coming out. I don't know why it was randomly Ricochet, but basically just saying like he wasn't intimidated by him and he got beat up. So we'll see if that has anything. Maybe they'll have a spot during the Royal Rumble. I don't really know, but that happened. Then we got a match that I actually really enjoyed, which was Becky Lynch versus Kairi Sane. Obviously, we're leading into Becky's match versus Asuka. First off, it's great to see Kairi back. I'm glad that the concussion and everything that she suffered at TLC, I'm glad she's recovered from it. Glad she's back in action. I thought her and Becky put on a really good match. I also like that during the entire match, basically, Asuka was perched up on the top turnbuckle. She was just there, just watching. Becky picked up the win, but then got attacked by Asuka afterwards. So, I don't know, I'm very excited for this match of the Royal Rumble. I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited to see where they're kind of going with that, especially then to see who wins the Women's Royal Rumble. And then we also got, so now going back to our beginning promo of the night, the Viking Raiders defended their titles against Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. Now, I don't know how the Viking Raiders, like, first of all, I don't know how they got involved with Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens to begin with. And I also don't know why the actual tag team in this little faction, the AOP, weren't the ones wrestling in this tag match. But we got new tag team champions out of Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. So it's a little confusing because they are more of the single stars and you have a tag team in the faction. So I don't really understand that. But I didn't hate it. Like, I think it's a decent storyline, especially for Buddy Murphy. It's decent to have him in this like really powerful faction, so I'm not too mad about it, but it was kind of random to me. And then the main event, which I'm not sure why this was the main event, but anyways, saw Liv Morgan and Rusev versus Lana and Bobby Lashley, and the only thing I enjoyed about this match was actually seeing Liv wrestle. It was nice to see her. I don't really know how much they've changed her character because her ring gear is different, but like I just feel like they dropped the ball with this. I don't really know what's going on with this. And of course they take the loss to Lana and Bobby, which is annoying because why does Rusev always gotta lose? Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. However, it is leading into a match on Monday with Liv and Lana facing each other, which is going to be interesting, I think. Maybe. I don't know. At least we're getting women's matches. I don't know. It's something. So, more than I can say for Smackdown, which I will get into in a little bit. But yeah, Raw was kind of okay. I would give Raw like a B+. There was definitely some good things in it, but it was also kind of weird. The main event was odd to me. But it wasn't terrible. So, that was Raw for the week. Now moving on to NXT, which is my like saving grace throughout the week. I think it's a lot of people's. We had quite a bit on NXT. So we had two matches that were in the Dusty Classic. So these were the semifinals. So we had the Undisputed Era versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. So I think a lot of people expected the Undisputed Era to come away with the victory. However, Imperium actually like showed up in the middle because obviously they're facing at Worlds Collide, and basically kind of distracted them so that the Grizzled Young Veterans could actually get the win. But before that, the match itself was really good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a very technical match and I enjoyed it. So the ending was obviously, you know, supposed to be promoting for Worlds Collide and stuff, but I think it's good that Undisputed Era, maybe being the favorites in this, didn't actually end up winning since they already have the tag team champions and they won the Dusty Classic before. I think it's actually pretty good that they decided to change it up a little bit. The other match in this was, was actually Imperium versus Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. And this one was cool as well. I thought it was a good match. With this one, we saw Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne actually win, which is cool because they're not really a tag team that you would normally see. They're mostly, you know, singles competitors. So to have them win and to really get over like that was pretty cool. And that kind of like takes like Imperium and Undisputed Era out of this and just puts the focus on their match at Worlds Collide. So I liked that. We also got Finn Balor versus Joaquin Wilde. Yeah, I love Finn Balor, so I have nothing negative to say. I'm very, very excited for whenever he faces Johnny Gargano. I think that's going to be a exciting match. So I don't have anything bad to say about Finn ever. We also got 2 women's matches, which once again, more than I can say for Raw or Smackdown, especially Smackdown. Smackdown really pissed me off this week with that. So we got Io Shirai, my personal favorite. I just love her, versus Toni Storm. And we've seen this match before. If you've seen the Mae Young Classic, they actually faced each other at Evolution. It was a really, really good match. This was also a really solid match. I like Io and Toni. I like that Toni has a more like, kind of like hard-hitting style, and I like that Io's very like, obviously she's the genius of the sky, so she has all these cool moves, and it was just a really good balance, I think, between the 2 of them. This didn't get an actual finish though, because Bianca came out and started attacking, which then led into Rhea coming out, and it turned into a whole thing. But basically at the end, Toni was holding up the championship. I don't think Toni's necessarily going to win at Worlds Collide, but the visual was cool, and she was getting major boos. So if they're trying to build her up to be a heel, they're doing a really good job, and I'm excited to see that match. But I was happy with it up until we didn't get an actual finish. Then we got Shayna Baszler versus Shotzi Blackheart, and this kind of stemmed from Shotzi eliminating Shayna from the Battle Royal. And I was actually really impressed. I liked this match. There was obviously a little bit of like hiccups here and there in the match, but obviously I don't think they have worked with each other too much. However, I thought the match itself was really good, and I was down for it. I liked that Shotzi definitely had some offense against Shayna. I think she's being built up very well, especially for being new. I think that they are really working with her and building her up. So I'm down for it. I like her. She looks cool with her green hair. I like that Shayna was throwing in some different stuff. And I enjoyed it. So I was very happy with the women's matches on this pay-per-view. There was also a like video package for Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox for their match next week, which I'm also very excited about. So I want to give NXT a huge shout out for absolutely dominating with the women's division. I think they're doing a great job. I think their women's division is leaps and bounds above the other ones. I just think they're doing an incredible job. So I just want to give them that shout out. And then our main event was Keith Lee versus Roderick Strong. And Keith Lee is obviously the favorite here. He's just done so much over, this last year. And it's super exciting. People are hyped to see him. He gets hella chance. And you can just see the crowd is behind him 110%. And so it was really good match. And even with interference from the Undisputed Era, Keith Lee still managed to come out with the win, and it was just awesome. And I was so glad to see it. Obviously, the Undisputed Era now is short a championship, so I think they're a little bit upset. But I thought it was really cool that he was able to overcome, literally having the 3 other members of Undisputed Era like outside of the ring and not just having to deal with Roderick in the ring. So I enjoyed it, and NXT gets an A for me because they kill it every week, but you already know this. Now moving on to Smackdown. I should take a shot before I talk about this. Okay. So, first match of the night saw the Usos teaming with Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode. How many times have I said all of these names in the same sentence because they are always facing each other? Oh my god, I cannot wait for this feud between Baron and Roman to end. I'm hoping that on Sunday it ends because I cannot stand this feud. I feel like a lot of people have the same sentiments as me because I was reading comments under this when Twitter, when the WWE's Twitter, announced it, and people were like, why again? And I'm like, exactly, why again? I'm so tired of seeing these people face each other. It's fine, whatever. It was a fine match. There's nothing, I'm just not invested in the storyline. I don't feel like a lot of people are. And it's just not, I'm just not here for it. So that's my comment on that. It was a fine match. It's whatever. I'm ready for it to end. I'm tired of it. It's been going on too long. Then we got a promo from Lacey Evans. So Lacey, which first off, I'm going to give her credit because I feel like this was a real promo. I think she was speaking actually as herself and not so much even her character. So it was a good promo in the sense that you definitely felt something, but it was a little, like, there was parts of it that were awkward because she was definitely very in her emotions during it. Like, she was about to cry, and it wasn't like, you could tell that it was real, so it made it like a little bit awkward. But overall, I think you can tell that people are definitely getting behind her. She's definitely getting the support that she needs, like, to be a face. So I'm not mad about it. It is like a weird transition, but at least her character, there is, you know, some dimension, some depth, whatever. During her promo kind of thing, Bayley attacked her, which I'm gonna give Bayley credit because at least I've been seeing some aggression out of her. So I'll give her that. This led them to actually brawling backstage, which interrupted an interview that was going on with Carmella and Dana Brooke. I guess they were just talking to them about the Royal Rumble, but then you see like Lacey and Bayley brawling. They get pulled apart. And you think, oh, okay, this is over. We'll see the rest of it on Sunday. No, just kidding, because then they wanted to play us and make us think we were actually getting a women's match, and we didn't. So we were supposed to get Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and, you know, they got out there, did their entrances, and they were literally getting ready to start the match. Like, everything was getting ready to start, and Bayley and Lacey come down the entrance, and they get in the ring, and they're brawling, and then it breaks out a brawl into all 6 of them. And you guys, this was just so annoying because it's like, okay, the last 2 weeks we've literally had victories by roll up. Okay, and then we have this happen and we just don't have a match. So it's really, really annoying. I just feel like SmackDown's just not giving their women's division the respect that they deserve. I just feel like there's just, like, why? Like, I haven't seen Carmella wrestle in weeks. Dana hasn't wrestled in a while. It's been, like, Mandy and Sonya, which I'm fine with because there's, you know, the little bit of storyline with Mandy in the back. But, like, why are we not having a match? Like, could we not have had the match and then the brawl? Or could the brawl have been there, but the match not got canceled? I don't even know. It was really annoying to me. That's all I have to say on that. Then we got a match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro versus Braun Strowman and Elias. And of course, the Intercontinental Champion wouldn't win the match. Does that make sense? I really think that a disservice is done to champions when they literally don't ever win. I feel like this is the problem I feel like Bayley has. This is the problem I feel like Shinsuke has. Like, they are constantly losing their matches. Like, it makes no sense to me. I feel like your champions, you should be building them up to be, like, almost unbeatable. And then when you decide, like, okay, we're gonna, you know, change the championship, have them face someone who, like, I'm assuming, I don't know if this has been made a match yet. I don't really know. I got annoyed with this whole thing. But I'm assuming at some point Shinsuke is going to end up facing Braun Strowman, and Braun's going to be the new Intercontinental Champion. But my thing is, like, you haven't had Shinsuke do anything with it while he's been the champion. And that's so annoying because he's extremely talented. So I don't understand why he was put into this little faction, but yet he loses all the time. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So that's just me. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but it's really annoying, and that's all I have to say on it. We also got John Morrison versus Kofi Kingston, which is obviously a good match. I enjoyed it. I don't know like exactly where they're going with this. The only thing I think that they could be doing with this is obviously leading into The Miz and John Morrison facing the New Day for their championships. I could see that happening, and then maybe like New Day turning heel, because they kind of had this promo. Well, they were getting interviewed, and it was on, I don't know, I guess it was after the show because I saw it on Twitter, but where they basically were kind of like rude to Kathy Kelly, and it was kind of like awkward and uncomfortable because like the New Day is normally like positive and stuff, so it's kind of weird. So I don't know if they're leading into like having the New Day lose their championships and having them turn heel. I don't really know what's going on with that, but that's my whole thing. I don't know. And then finally we got the contract signing between Daniel Bryan and The Fiend. And at first The Fiend wasn't gonna come out there. Bray Wyatt was like, you don't want him to come out there, you don't want me to be out there. blah, blah, blah. But then he was like, you know, the Fiend never forgets. So he remembers everything you've done. And the Fiend made his appearance and he signed that contract in his own blood. And it was kind of crazy. And I have to give Bray Wyatt credit because he's probably the most interesting thing about SmackDown. I definitely think that Daniel Bryan is a very, very good athlete. I think that this is a good feud. But I don't know, man, there's something about the Fiend. He's just, like, I guess because he goes from being Bray Wyatt to being the Fiend, it's kind of crazy. But I'm gonna say it, I think Bray Wyatt is what's keeping that show afloat. Because other than that, this was a messy ass show in my opinion. I did not like it. I did not enjoy it. The only thing I really liked was the contract signing, and then I thought John Morrison versus The Miz was good. Everything else to me was average. I'm tired of seeing Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin. I don't want them to associate with each other ever again after this freaking match on Sunday. Like, I don't want to see it. I'm tired of there not being any women's matches, or if there are, I'm tired of them ending in a roll-up, because what is that? Why are we getting like 3-minute matches? It's annoying. And that's basically it. That's basically all I have to say. So, that being said, I am excited for the Royal Rumble. I feel like the men's Royal Rumble, I know every single person that's going to be in it now, so I'm kind of like, but, you know, it'll be fine.